Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. Now I welcome you to a critical moment in America's nation's history. On Friday, March 14th, a nationwide Veterans March will take place in all 50 states, with protests at each state capital, including Washington, D.C. Now, this call to action is not just for veterans, but for everyone, regardless of race or political affiliation, to stand in solidarity with those who have served this country. Now, the alarming reality is that over 6,000 veterans have already lost their jobs and been terminated from federal service at an unprecedented rate, stripping them of vital protections as they enter the civilian workforce. This is not a partisan issue, but a matter of basic respect and gratitude for those who have put their lives on the line for our freedom. Now, as Tim Cox so aptly puts it, the current administration's actions are not subjective. This is evidence of a disturbing trend that has earned it the title of the most anti-veteran administration ever. It's time for us to come together and demand better for our veterans. So with that said, let's take a look at these videos as different people share their thoughts and as they call on people to come and protest with veterans. I will be right back.
Nearly 6,000 veterans have already lost their jobs and been terminated from federal service at an unprecedented rate, and will all enter the civilian workforce with less protections. While my time is limited, I just wanted to say this. This isn't subjective. This is evidence. This is evidence. In less than 2 months, this administration has proved itself to be the most anti-veteran administration ever. What's going on is just not right on so many levels.
Yeah, you called it the most anti-veterans administration in history.
It is. I mean, there's almost 6,000 veterans that are terminated. It was just reported today that 80,000 VA employees are going to be terminated. They have the most amount of veterans. It shows you that the billionaires are the ones who matter, you know, and they're going to step on anybody to get them what they want. So it's unfortunate, but a lot of people are going to suffer.
I mean, Nicole, you will remember when Donald Trump became the first president to do something like besmirch the legacy of a war hero, John McCain. Mm-hmm. And I think people thought, oh, maybe that kind of disgusting treatment of someone who has served our country in the most tangible, visceral, self-sacrificing way, maybe that's an anomaly. Maybe he will move past that. This is evidence, the treatment of veterans, right? Which was once the third rail in American politics. You would never see a Republican Party targeting veterans, targeting the VA, having veterans come to town halls and say, this is the most anti-veteran administration in American history. The statements Trump made about John McCain, the statements he's made about people who serve, who were wounded in combat, he, as someone who got out of serving this country because of bone spurs, that was not an anomaly, that was an indicator. And you are now seeing the harvest of those seeds. The treatment of veterans is not going unnoticed by veterans themselves. There were a lot of them that spoke up last night, and they feel the same way.
Hello, friends. On March 14th at noon at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., as well as every state capital, there's going to be a Veterans March to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And that is our oath. And we are going to be out there, and I'm going to be videotaping in the state of Illinois. All of you veterans that are in Illinois that are following me and our friends, if you see me or my daughter out there, I'll have a picture of her, I'll show you in a minute, out there, come up and say hi, shake our hand, and be glad to see you. So if you can get out and go there, we're going to make it a weekend. We're going to go to the museums and everything down in Springfield, which is really great because with Abraham Lincoln's memorial and his museums and stuff like that, it's going to be a fantastic time. So I hope to see a lot of you out there. So let's get up and do the thing, all right? I'll show you the pictures in a minute here. This is one of my daughter. And of course, I'm going to leave the poster up for a while too until the end of the video here. So let's get up and go out and be heard, and be proud and be loud. Thank you.
This message is for all of the veterans out there, my fellow brothers and sisters in arms that voted against Trump. Or if you are a Trump supporter who's a veteran and you are now regretting your vote, this message is for you as well. Friday, March 14th at 12 p.m. nationwide, there will be protests at each state capital, especially the one in D.C. But if you can't make it to the one in D.C., find the one in your state. Friday, March 14th at 12 p.m., veterans and their families and their friends will be assembling at each state capital to protest what is going on currently with this new administration and the cuts that are going on within the federal programs, which include the Department of Veterans Affairs. Donald J. Trump and the DOGE program, which is Elon Musk, are purging the Department of Veterans Affairs of 80,000 federal employees, which means that will dramatically affect veterans' health care. They will be firing doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, specialty care, dental care, or every federal worker that works for those specific departments that help benefit veterans will be in peril. So if you are a veteran and you are worried about your benefits, join us. If you're a veteran that voted against Trump, or if you're a veteran that voted for Trump but you are now regretting your vote, join us Friday, March 14th at 12 p.m. in any of your state capitals and let your voice be heard. Our oath never expires.
We might not agree on many things, but the veterans is the one group that we should all come together for. Because it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, the veterans right now are losing so much. It is affecting their livelihood. And these people have sacrificed everything for this country. So it's time that we stand up for them. So this March 14th, there's going to be a Veterans March across the United States. Show up and demand that they get what they deserve.
The Veterans March is March 14th. I'm on the opposite side of the United States, so I won't be marching in DC, but I live in a small red town in Southern California, so I will be in my town protesting. In my uniform, I already bought the stuff for my sign. I know what it's going to say. I expect it to be possibly contentious in this town, but I have 0 F's to give. I dedicated my life to this country and the Constitution of the United States of America, and I'm willing to do what it takes to stand up for it. So anyway, there is nothing worse than a menopausal woman trained in combat. Let me tell you, I know all those veterans up there in DC are going to be protesting, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but they're not happy. They are not happy. So multiply that by 10 with a menopausal woman trained in combat. I'm beyond pissed.
To all veterans, I have one request. I've seen mentioned quite a few times there aren't a whole lot of news stories, nothing real substantial, but there's supposed to be a protest this Friday, March 14th. They're asking for the bulk of protesters to be in DC, but they're also asking for protests in every state's capital. This is in support of veterans' issues and against what the current administration is doing to veterans. Now, I have a question for those in Richmond, Virginia, or around who will be attending whatever may be happening in Richmond, Virginia on March 14th. Are there contacts? Are there websites? Are there social media pages? Are there phone numbers? Give me anything you have, please. Thank you.
Moving forward, if you're not ready to fight, get ready to leave. If you think that fighting means you have to pick up some sort, it doesn't. Most of the military is support. 25, maybe 30% go out there and actually fight. The rest man phone lines. The rest do propaganda. The rest fix tires and engines. The rest house soldiers. The rest get soldiers' wives and kids paid and husbands paid. The rest do media. The rest write in newspapers and take photographs for historical sake. The rest organize. The rest provide comms, communication. The rest do mapping and navigation. The rest provide support. You will have to fight or you will have to leave. Putin's grandest achievement has been fully realized today. Whether we know it or not, or like it or not, everyone else in the world knows it and has been planning for it and will react accordingly. I got more stuff coming. I got more information on the resistance. Make sure that you're there. Make sure that you're there in big numbers on March 14th in D.C. Make sure you're there and you stay over till the 15th at noon when we have a march on the media, on the doorsteps of those organizations that need to hear us and see us. It's not over. We're just going to have to fight for it. That's the first steps. In numbers too big to fail. I'll see you there. Or find somewhere else to go.
Hey, I got something crazy to tell you. 2 million veterans are about to end corruption in Washington in July this year. We are not looking for your money. We just need your participation. We have your back. You have our back. Dude, let's just work together. We all just need to put aside our political differences. Everybody just needs to put that aside. This needs to be the primary goal. Because it doesn't matter what's going on right now with executive orders or laws. It doesn't matter. What matters is we take money out of their greedy hands and we take the power back into our hands. They need to know who runs the show. We fund it. We're the investors. We own it, right? We all do. We all pay our taxes. We are shareholders. Now, we need to make sure that the shareholders are getting what they deserve. To make that happen, we're going to end Citizens United. How are we going to end Citizens United? Well, there's a lot of legislators across the country, and there's a lot of constitutional lawyers across the country that are currently working on paperwork for us to submit. Now, we're not going to pay to submit this. No. We're going to have 2 million veterans walking that paperwork to Capitol Hill. And this is not a protest. This is a march. Now, not a protest because it is a demand. They will sign that paperwork. They will give the American people what they want because we are the employers. We are the shareholders. You get what I'm saying? You tracking? Because it's time for us. It's our time, the goddamn system. We need to upset the goddamn setup because that's what it is. It's a setup. And it's a setup for these politicians to make money off of these freaking special interest groups. And it's for these special interest groups to profit from whatever law and legislation they submit to these politicians. Option. Let's end it. I am so done, man. I know a lot of you are. There is so much going on today, and the first step we could take is to do this. We need to do this one thing. And we are not asking for money. We're just asking for your participation. I don't care if it's sharing this video, if it's, sending it in emails, joining the cause. I will put the link in this video. Just be a part of it. And even if this is one of those things where it's like, okay, I don't matter, this doesn't matter. I'm just going to scroll. Dude, just please take a moment, just share it because maybe you're not interested in it, but there are other American veterans or citizens that are interested in it. And with that interest comes change because with that interest comes participation, and with that participation becomes action. And due to our actions, we will create change. We will hard reset so that we all hold the power and government remembers who is in charge. And it's not special interest groups and it's not millionaires. It is us. It is us, the ones that work hard. It is us that are the backbone of this country. Why? We're the taxpayers. We are the people who produce things. We are the ones that manufacture. We're the ones that take care of our patients. We are the ones that fix somebody's car. We are the ones that serve food at restaurants, dude. We are the blue collar Americans, man. We make up a massive percentage of the country, and we are being bled dry by special interest groups and greedy politicians. This is the one thing we can do this year to make 2025 the best year ever. I'm sorry for the language. I'm super excited. I can't wait for this to happen. I have already bought my plane tickets. I'm getting ready to get a couple buddies together that we are going to share a Airbnb. This is going down. It's going down. Please be part of this. We can fix this in such a short amount of time. We can. I know it's awful that it's resorting to this, but it's not violence. It's a march. So it's like we're not hurting anybody whatsoever. We have no intentions of hurting anybody, and we will prevent anybody from hurting anybody else. Because that's what we do. Keepers, man. Fighters. We got you. We got you. We're going to lead. We just need you to be with us so we can accomplish this thing. You imagine? Like, can you? We're going to have the power back. We get to stop all these special interests.
Now, just like we have heard from the videos, veterans and supporters are being called up for a nationwide march on March 14th, 2025 to protest the impact of Project 2025 on critical programs supporting former service members. Now, the event, dubbed the Veterans March, will take place simultaneously in Washington, D.C. and at every state capital. Organizers announced on a flyer being circulated online. Now, quoting a statement commonly attributed to John Milley, "We don't take an oath to a king." The event's promotional materials emphasize a commitment to upholding the Constitution of the United States. Organizers say the march is a response to cuts that have already affected veteran services, including the Veterans Crisis Line, which provides vital mental health support. Now, Project 2025 will decimate programs veterans rely on and has already eliminated vital liveliness. A statement on the event flyer reads, "According to a leaked memo, the Trump administration plans to cut 83,000 jobs at the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, a move that critics say would severely impact medical care and support services for veterans." Now, as of February 2024, the VA employed over 400,000 people, reflecting the sheer number of veterans in need of care. Now, many of these veterans served in Iraq and Afghanistan, wars that left long-lasting physical and psychological scars on those who fought. About 800,000 U.S. military personnel served in Afghanistan since the U.S. invasion in 2001. The war ended in August 2021 after 20 years, making all honorably discharged veterans from that conflict eligible for VA healthcare. Now, between 1.5 and 3 million U.S. service members served in Iraq between 2003 and 2011, and more than half deploying more than once. Reducing VA staff amid such high demand would create longer wait times, reduced access to care, and increased hardship for those who served. And it's already difficult for veterans to get timely appointments for surgeries and other health issues. Now, the quote featured on the Veterans March flyer reflects a foundational principle of American democracy, that the nation is not ruled by a monarch but governed by laws and elected representatives. And this principle traces back to the American Revolution, when the original 13 colonies broke away from British rule under King George III. Now, after declaring independence in 1776, American leaders debated the structure of their new government. The U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1787, established a system of checks and balances that divided power between the executive, which is the president, legislature, which is the Congress, and judicial Supreme Court branches. Now, the founders rejected monarchy, fearing centralized power would lead to tyranny. Instead of swearing loyalty to a ruler, U.S. military personnel and public officials take an oath to support and defend the Constitution. And this distinction underscores the nation's commitment to democracy, ensuring that power remains with the people rather than a single leader. Now, Trump has not officially declared himself king. However, he has made statements and actions that critics interpret as authoritarian or monarchical in tone. For example, February 19, 2025, Trump referred to himself as the king in a Truth Social post after celebrating the halt of New York City's congestion pricing plan, writing, "Long live the king." And this drew criticism as many saw it as an undemocratic statement. 2024 campaign. During a presidential campaign event, Trump said he would act as a dictator on day one of his presidency to push certain policies, but later clarified he was only referring to specific executive actions. Now, the Veterans March organizers appear to be invoking this history as they mobilize against policies they view as harmful to those who serve the country. Now, yes, many of Americans, including some veterans, voted against their own interests and rights, and now they're regretting it. It's like they finally awakened to the reality of their decisions. Now, I've heard my community say time and time again that they're on a break from protesting, that nothing will motivate them to take to the streets again. But I have to ask, my fellow Black brothers and sisters, will you go march with the veterans on March 14th? Just asking. Now, the organizers of these upcoming movement demonstrations, or 50 states, 50 protests one day, have announced they have partnered with Political Revolution, a group initially created to support Senator Bernie Sanders' 2016 presidential bid. Now, the 50-51 movement has organized demonstrations against the Trump administration on Wednesday in all 50 state capitals across the United States. It came after protests against Trump's deportation policies erupted across the country, and over the weekend with demonstrations taking place in California, Texas, Arizona, Arkansas, Missouri, Georgia, and North Carolina. In Los Angeles, California, hundreds of protesters blocked the 101 freeway for a time on Sunday, waving Mexican flags and holding placards criticizing the U.S. Immigration and Customs enforcement. Now, support from Political Revolution is likely to boost the 50-51 demonstrations, both by promoting them to a wider range of people and by getting support from experienced campaigners. Now, in a statement posted on its official Instagram page, the 50-51 movement said, "We've heard your concerns about the legitimacy of the 50-51 movement. Up to this point, we have been entirely grassroots organized, and we here have done the best we can to provide some structure and address concerns, but we've been looking for better options too. So we are monstrously relieved to get to share this news with you. We are now partnered with Political Revolution." Now, the news was confirmed by Political Revolution on the group's Reddit page, which has 173,000 listed activists. They announced they had partnered with the 50-51 movement and will be assisting with organizing and encourage cross-collaboration between the groups. Now, the group added, if you don't see an event for your state, you can make one. You can also make any type of organizing event, public or private. Welcome to the revolution. Now, the Political Revolution Reddit page was founded in February 2016 to support the then Democrat presidential bid from Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. In a statement provided to Newsweek, Political Resolution said, "Our requests include the resignation or removal of Donald J. Trump from the presidency, thorough investigations into his appointees, scrutiny of Elon Musk's governmental role, the repeal of oppressive executive orders, and the enforcement of robust laws against hate speech. We also advocate for the reinstatement of diversity, equity, and inclusion frameworks to ensure that all citizens are treated with dignity and respect." While ultimately losing to Hillary Clinton, Sanders was able to build a substantial following for his left-wing policies during the campaign and attracted widespread public attention. On its Reddit page, Political Revolution states, "This subreddit is part of the Political Revolution as envisioned by Bernie Sanders. We represent a movement promoting activism, raising support for down-ballot progressive candidates, and spreading awareness for the issues focused on by the progressive cause." Now, speaking to Newsweek, an organizer of the 50-51 movement protest in Springfield, Illinois, said the Illinois Citizens 50-51 movement has requested the permits to meet on the Capitol grounds. "We have also received substantial threats of violence from MAGA groups, so we are meeting on Capitol grounds to guarantee that they will be limited in their efforts to harass, silence, or harm us." We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do you, our viewers, have to say about this? Are you going to protest or march with the veterans on 14th March? Share your thoughts, your views, your contributions as well in the comment section, and let's have a conversation there. Thank you for always watching, and see you in our next video as we bring you another interesting video.